This one is for all of y'all out there who love a little positivity, a little hope with your sports. That's exactly where we are going to keep this video. In fact, usually I have an idea of, an angle, and I don't mean that in a negative way, but in terms of how I'm going to frame the title on YouTube to get your attention to want to watch. I have no idea yet how I'm going to do this one because there really isn't any. This is just something refreshing that I wanted to share when we look at what the WNBA, at least what we know, how it's been since Caitlin Clark has been the toxicity, the accusations, the lies, and on and on and on. We talk about often the unlikability, to be blunt, about way, way too many of the players in this league. It seems every time a lot of them open their mouths, you like them a little less, you wanna watch the games a little less, you wanna support the league a little less, and you came in because of Caitlin Clark, and you slowly expanded. You say, "You know what? We'll watch the game that leads into the Fever game. We'll watch the game that's after the Fever game. We'll watch this other game that's, I don't know, the Lynx versus the Aces because they're two contending teams for a title later in the year." And then after a while, it kind of starts going the other way. Like, you start narrowing it to, yeah, you get to the point where it's like, I'm going to watch Caitlin Clark. To maybe even, I'm not even going to watch Caitlin Clark's team without Caitlin Clark. I know a lot of people felt that way last year. I've seen in my comments a lot of this year, people were like, hey, you know what? Until I know from Stephanie White how this season is going to go in terms of how she uses Caitlin Clark and how the team plays in terms of system, I'm out. I'll support YouTubers like myself. I'll, watch highlights, but I am not jumping back in full on to support Caitlin Clark until I know what it's going to be like because it can be great. And that's what I mean about the positivity. I think there's so much to like about this team if Stephanie White gets out of the way and lets them do what they're capable of doing. It could be such a fun team to watch. And I have three short clips I want to share. We've got KK, we've got Makayla Timpson here, MHA, and Monique Billings. They're all three short clips, but it's amazing how similar they sound. They're separate. These aren't the three of them together. They're three different clips in terms of what they're talking about, and also wildly enough, being that they're all on the Fever, how just likable they sound, and how easy it seems for them to just be likable, to say the right things that isn't going to be controversial, that isn't going to turn off fans, that are just. It's not hard to get people on board who want to support you. And yet the WNBA seems to kick and scream and yell and punch to do the opposite of that. So I, I I'm still being positive. I just wanted to kind of set the I don't know what I'm setting, man. All right, I'm hungry. I need some caffeine, but we're gonna go with KK first. I want you to listen to this and then think about how difficult. Think about everything we've heard the last couple of years and like how difficult is it to do this? I let me say this too before we even jump in. I love what I saw from KK in college and the brief glimpses in the WNBA. I know Stephanie White doesn't like to play young players. I really hope she gets an opportunity to get consistent minutes this season and grow with the team because I think she can be an incredibly important piece to this team going forward.
All of the injuries last year, you didn't get to play with Caitlin as much as anybody would have liked. But those moments that you did share the floor with her, the numerous hours of practice with her, what's it like to share the floor with Caitlin Clark?
It's incredible. Y'all know how Caitlin Clark plays basketball, man. It's incredible the way she plays basketball. She's able to, create her own shot, shoot the three, and just overall a great teammate. She's a great person to look up to, and all of this stuff that's going on right now for us in the W wouldn't happen because of her. So just grateful for her, excited for her to be back, and just back on the court with us. So y'all gonna see more Caitlin Clark basketball this season.
That's amazing. Now here is this young player and being asked about another player, and that can be tough at times. She doesn't seem at all resentful. She seems appreciative. She even went out of her way not to just say how much fun it is to play with Caitlin Clark, but to say, hey, we are where we are as a league. In other words, that new CBA, because of Caitlin Clark. And look, I don't need players to be saying that all the time. To be clear, I just need them to not go the other way with it, right? How hard is it to just not constantly try and put down Caitlin Clark or take credit and try and diminish Caitlin Clark? It's just like this. And before we move on to, I think I have Mo set up next. One thing I wanted to add with Makayla is she may be in some ways the most athletic player I have seen in the WNBA. Since Caitlin Clark came in, like playing now. So I really hope she gets the opportunity because she can be a lot of fun to watch. So fingers crossed that she ends up getting into the regular rotation. I don't think she will right at the beginning of the season, but let's hope she grows into it. Now we've got Monique Billings and these next two. Again, let's be clear, because we all hear a lot about how no one wants to come to Indiana, right? Maybe it's just certain types of players don't want to come to Indiana. We saw Mo play with Caitlin with USA basketball, right? And I remember after the first game, I was like, ooh, I kind of like that connection already. Like, that's fast. I like the way Mo set some picks. I like the way she knows to move, how to move and get open for Caitlin Clark and support that. So fingers crossed that's going to elevate. Mo's going to elevate this year.
I love the level and just the standard that this team already has. We're contenders. We're playing to compete. And so, like I keep saying, the core that's already here, they've established that. And so I think the new pieces, including myself coming in, we just want to add to that. We don't want to drop the level that's already been created. We want to continue to raise that standard to elevate. And I think that's what we've been really focused on in training camp so far.
All right, just real quick, the easily offended women who don't like toxic masculinity, just mute for a second, cover your ears, whatever it is. But Mo's kind of hot. I'm just saying, okay? But also, real simple. Like, I love that she just embraced, hey, this team has a level. I want to be part of that. I want to help take it above that, go to the next level, because the idea every season should be a championship. Embrace the good that is here. You want to win. You come here. You play with Caitlin Clark. You play your role. She's going to make you better. Let's go get a couple of rings. All right. And finally, another free agent. Another free agent. Let's get into this. All right. This one's a little lower. So give me a second to make sure I pop up this volume a bit. Hopefully it doesn't blast you at this point.
Winning. Being able to play with Caitlin Clark, I think that was a huge eye-opening. Like, I had the opportunity to play with one of the greatest players that's ever going to play the game of basketball. So for me, once I also heard that, like, oh, she really wants me here too, I was like, oh, well, let's get it done then. There's no questions about it. So
So much there. First of all, right away, winning. That's what matters. And by the way, she was asked about what made you want to come to Indy? Why did you sign with Indy? She wasn't even asked about Caitlin Clark. I mean, she could have indirectly talked about it and be like, oh, well, the fans, man, they play in front of these loud, sold out crowds all of the time, home and away. New facility coming. The way I've heard that they take care of the team in all these different ways, and play with Caitlin Clark. Caitlin Clark won her here. And also she said, boom, Caitlin Clark's basically played one season. She said, one of the greatest players to ever have played the game. The respect, the understanding of what Caitlin Clark brings, like all three of these, man. And I, I'm trying to keep it positive, but I just keep saying it's like every time I think to myself how excited I really am to watch this team, right? And just I'm not going to get in. To be clear, the Raven Johnson thing, I just have some issues with the fit basketball wise and how that's going to work. It's not about Raven specifically. It's about the fit. Other than that, though, like I wish they had a little more front court depth. But I think this could be a really exciting team. I really do. I just, in the back of my mind, I just keep thinking about Stephanie White. Is she going to allow it to happen? That being said, if she does, this could be a really, really fun team to watch. If the things Stephanie says about Caitlin Clark that she doesn't usually do, if she decides to actually allow that, this will be must-see basketball. This will be showtime. The Lakers are going to have to give up that title. I'm just saying. Let me know your thoughts. Smash the like button. Subscribe to the channel. Appreciate it as always. Shout out to the 19. I will talk to you all.